God, he's going to go around the inside. He's going to send it. He's taking the lead of the Canadian Grand Prix on the last lap. Matt Turner takes the win in a remarkable race. We have teammates coming together. How devastating! Welcome everybody to the IFL Formula 3 opening round here in Spain. I have Weston Epps here with me broadcasting. Weston, how are we feeling today?
I'm feeling really good. It's looking like there's going to be a really hard field to compete out there today. Everybody's rolling in the 38s and 37s, so I think we're going to have a good close race.
Yep, right now we are 13 minutes into our qualifying session. 25-minute total, so we get another 12 minutes of these guys setting laps, and right now we have Victor Barris out in front with a 137.535. He is flying. I think he might have been sandbagging a little bit. He wasn't as fast in the practice, but he is showing some really good pace right now. James Muller and Joachim Flodman in second and third following him, and then we have a big field of around 30 drivers today, so we will try and keep some coverage on just about everybody. But let's take a look at our race information for the day. Like I said, we're at the Spanish Grand Prix at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. 2.84 miles for the track today. Track temperature is a little higher than what we've been seeing all week in practice at an 88 or an 84 degrees Fahrenheit. Throughout the week we've been seeing high 70s, so a little bit hotter. We might see some sliding around, some hot tires, some hot track as the race goes on. We'll keep an eye on that just to see. 7-mile-an-hour wind, that can affect a little bit of the aerodynamics of the car. Ambient temperature is 76, so it's not too bad out there for the drivers. And a clear sky, so we have that sun beating down on the track. It's around 1:30 local time here for the Spanish crowd, and you know that sun that can cook the track over the next couple hours. That can get it up near 90 degrees, but like I said, we'll monitor that as time goes on. And then 59 degrees or 59% humidity, not a crazy amount of humidity in the air, so these cars will be trying to grab some more of that humid air to give the engine that extra boost. So nothing crazy on that end, so no extra power. But Weston, how's qualifying looking as of right now?
Well, it's looking very competitive. As we see, Barris has a 37.5, almost half a second in front of Muller. But the rest of the field up to the top 10 are all within a second of each other. So it looks like Barris at the moment is going to be flying off with this. But this is only qualifying pace, so we have to be conservative and see how the race pace settles in. But it's looking very competitive. Now, to go back to the temperatures, at 84 degrees, there's going to be some real pain points for these drivers. Mainly turn 3, the long sweeping right after the main straight, because it's so easy to lose that rear end, especially on cold tires or after a pit stop. So keep an eye on that. And also turn 10, everybody seems to be having a problem getting on the throttle and could be spinning out. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. It could make things very interesting.
Yep, that long sweeping turn, you just lose that back end if you have too much slip and not enough grip. But we've seen a couple people the first lap out were losing the back end. You see a little bit of smoke there on the graphic. You know, one car just went off again. Another car in front of them had gone off, as we see right there. It's one of the Lumos drivers.
Like I said, it is going to be a big pain point there, but if people can stick it around there, I think we're going to have a real fun race ahead.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be tight, as we see, you know, Muller a half second back from Barris, Flodman 1/100th back from Moller. Larson another 5/100ths back from Moller. PvP is sitting 1/10th back. Watts a few 1,000ths back from him. It's going to be really, really tight throughout this entire race.
It is going to be a very tight field, and Barcelona is only has very specific places for overtaking, mainly turn 4 and turn 10. So we're going to see some very vicious battles going on around there. But at the moment, we see James Moller coming around, about to start a new flying lap. Hopefully, he's been showing great pace throughout the week of the session, so hopefully he'll be able to dethrone Barris.
Yep, let's take a ride on board and take us through a lap here.
Absolutely. So this is the long straight. You're just trying to gain as much speed as possible. There is a specific area that you want to be on towards the far left, because too much bumpiness will scrub your speed off. You want to brake at the orange barrier, slide in, try to hit the sausage curve, but just barely don't. Stick towards the middle here, keep it tight, let the steering just wash out here, or that will happen.
Yep, that is exactly what we were saying could happen. You push it too hard on turn 3 with this heat, and you're going to lose the rear end. Let's hop on board the car up ahead, and we continue our lap. Take it away.
Stick it to the left side, go on the right. You don't want to brake too deep in here, because that inside left will lock up very easily as the turn just banks away. So you want to brake early and let the car just flow in. This, you do a hard brake at the curb, try to keep it in 3rd or 4th, almost hit the sausage curb. Now this turn right here is very interesting in this F3s, because you can't hit that inside curb like that. It'll shoot you out and you could possibly get a slowdown. But if you hit it just right, you can carry almost 10 miles an hour faster through here. Now this turn 10 is where I feel a lot of drivers are going to be caught out here, as that's a pristine overtaking spot, but the track dips, so it's very easy to lose it on throttle. And we're coming up to the most important parts, the last chicane. You want to hold it in 3rd, go down into 2nd, keep as close to that sausage curb as possible to get the best run out. And that's a lap of Circuit de Barcelona.
Yep, it is a fast lap. It is a very, very complex lap. If you mess up one of these turns, you're really going to be hurting. That's essentially it. You're going to be hurting
absolutely
the entire time. Your exits are huge. The straightaways are going to be huge, because those are your big passing points, like you had said. It's just going to be crucial to hit your apexes and exits. And probably the biggest thing is turn 3, as we see another car off there.
They just haven't warmed up their tires enough. They need to push more on their outlap to get the tires hot, and even then you have to wait maybe another lap in order to get optimal tire to set a good qualifying lap.
Yep. Do you have any strange facts, any strange history behind the track here, Weston?
I do know that it was reintroduced with Fernando Alonso when he began his rise in Formula 1. It was brought back there for the Spanish fans. I know that not a lot of people enjoy this track. Personally, I love, to use a technical term, I love how flowy it is.
Mm-hmm.
Everything leads into the other so perfectly. I mean, turn 3 especially. Turn 10, if you get that good exit out of turn 10, you'll be able to flow directly into 11 and 12, and you'll be able to gain almost 2/10 in that last sector alone. And also that last chicane really resets the crowd, since everybody has to severely slow down. And if you hit the last chicane just right, you will be able to get a good run off of whoever you're chasing or being chased by, and really make it up down that straight. But most of the battles that I believe that we're going to be seeing is going to be in Sector 1 and 2. Yeah, as they're going to have the widest track space for battling to happen, especially turn 1. Everybody loves to send it on the inside of turn 1.
Yep, yeah, everybody's going to be fighting. We saw yesterday in our F2 division a 5 wide going into turn 1. It was completely insane. It was, you know, an incident did end up happening. A yellow came out, but these drivers are excited to get Season 3 underway, and they are only 8 minutes away. We have 3 more minutes of qualifying, 2 extra minutes if you end up crossing the line before that 25-minute mark. You have 2 minutes to finish your lap. And then after that, we have a 5-minute warm-up, and that 5-minute warm-up is just give these guys a chance to fuel the car with a full load of fuel, practice their pit entry one last time, practice their takeoff one last time, and really, really just get a feel for the car as it's going to go out on the track and as they're going to start. So we see a lot of cars right now. Joe Watts setting a purple sector. James Miller on a purple sector right now, trying to improve on his time against Victor Barris. Let's see if he can cross the line. Flodman as well crosses the line. Does he improve?
Oh,
he does not get the time.
7,000 James Miller off of Barris.
Yeah,
I
Jake
don't think
Potts
Barris
coming
has
across.
any more.
Potts up into third now. So we have 2 Lumos drivers in the top 3. But go ahead.
Miller only 700s behind Barris, and Barris just did a 37.7, so I don't think he has anything more in the tank. If Miller or Potts can put together a really good lap, I believe they can dethrone Barris.
Yeah, they might be able to. Yeah, Barris
Flodman
really
is not far behind.
Yep, Flodman been talking in the paddock quite a bit about first race nerves, new to the league and the car in general. I think it is their first open wheel experience for the team, and they're not far from the leaders here, 4th and only 0.2 off of that pole position. So, and then they have the Frederick Larson, who had a stunning race yesterday. He came into the F2 as a reserve driver, and he ended up taking 3rd place. Actually letting by his teammate to take 2nd place and give him a few extra points. But he could have had a 2nd place finish in the F2 division, and right now he's sitting in 5th place for the F3 division, and we are about 30 seconds left for anybody to get across the line and get a lap started. We're going to be keeping an eye here on just about everybody that is still out on track.
Julie Redmond is coming across the line. We'll see what kind of time she can put up. She has been doing green sectors, all green sectors.
Yep, let's see where Julie Redmond. It looks like she will stay there. No time posted, so it is probably due to an off track somewhere. It's very easy to get an off track. I believe it is turn 7, that high-speed right-hander before the back straight. You really throw it in there, and if you're gonna try and be in that top area, you throw it in there, and you just kind of hope that the car sticks. As we see, that 25-minute mark has been hit. Anybody that is out on the track giving a lap right now should be able to finish. And we will go to Michael Kuzmano. He should be finishing up his lap right now.
It's a 44.2. Moskowitz with a 39.4.
Barris coming across with a 37.9. Does not improve on his time at all. Redmond coming up to the final sector here.
These drivers have to be giving it everything. They know they're on their last lap. She's really going to be chucking in here. Look, she goes a little bit wide. Slows it down nicely.
Good
Perfect.
exit.
Perfect exit.
And here she
Let's
comes
see if
around.
she'll be able to improve.
Crosses the line. Ooh, she stays right where she's at. Good lap, but does not improve. We have Alexander, looks like here. He slips up.
Panic PvP does have a purple sector.
Ooh, and he slides.
Oh.
He slides off, and that essentially will do it for our qualifying.
So unfortunate. It's so easy to lose it when you're pushing so hard to increase your position. Because you really have to trust the car around here.
Yeah,
especially on turns such as turn 7, where you have to chuck it in and then just hope that your car catches the downforce after the compression. You're able to miss that sausage curb.
Yep.
So important.
Yep, these curbs, they'll kill you here, especially in that last sector. They are so big. Your car just rides up on them, and then the car's upset. You're going to spin. If you try and get on it, you're going to be, just in for a world of hurt. So as long as our drivers keep off the curbs, they should have a fairly productive race. But let's go through our results. For qualifying, we have Victor Barris taking the Formula 3 Round 1 pole position, our first pole position of Season 3. James Miller and Jake Potts in the Lumos eMotorsports cars taking up second and third. They will be looking to team up on Barris and move him down the order a little bit. Joachim Flodman sitting there in fourth for Banana Racing. And then Frederick Larson for Orion Racing sitting there in fifth. Panic PvP in sixth, racing as an independent team today. Joe Watts and Danny O'Keefe coming up in 7th and 8th. Julie Redman and Alexander Carver-Robbins taking that 5th row. Darius Rakauskas and Patrick Olson in that 6th row. Jackson Carr, Martinez Janikauskas in the 14th spot. Shecky Moskowitz is in our 15th spot. We have Luke Smith and Vincent Saint in 16 and 17. Don Satterfield and Anthony Walls in 18th and 19th. Stuart Gibbons and Steve Bunting in 20th and 21st. Nick Marshall in 22nd. Yalmer Alberg in 23rd. Joel Abney in 24th. Michael Kuzmano in 25th. And Frank Settle taking up that rear spot in 26th. We have quite the grid today.
Absolutely. As you could see, the top 10 were all within a second of each other on quali pace, and race pace, as we all know, is much closer together. So we're going to have a very exciting race in our hands today.
Yep. We have quite a bit of racing to do today. 33 laps, and right now we just have our drivers going out on their warm-up laps. Let's take a nice blimp view of everybody out there today. You see Panic PvP here going around. You can see him hitting that really high speed down to really low speed hairpin, and we have our sweeping, like you said, flowy track here. Flows to the right. You have that slight right off to the sausage curbs in the final sector. 2 sausage curbs you're hitting. You're trying to just keep it moving, keep it tight, and he's coming around that last curve down the home straight here, and this is going to be it. This is going to be the spot that we're going to be watching for. This home straight will determine our winners and losers today.
Absolutely, and it's so dependent on that last sector. A lot of racers want to send it in as hard as they can into the beginning of the bus stop chicane, but you really want to sacrifice that entry for the better exit and get as good of an angle on exit as possible, because if you're not able to do that, then the straight's not going to help you. You have to be able to sacrifice that entry for the exit in order to maximize that straight.
Yep, and that straight, like you said, it's so crucial on both of these straights. We'll watch Frederick Larson come up to our back straight here in a minute, but you have to sacrifice that entrance. You're going to sacrifice, maybe a tenth or two, and then it's going to make up for it with that really long straight when you have an extra 5 miles an hour to 10 miles an hour coming out of the turn than the other cars around you. You're just going to fly by them. You get into a slipstream with that extra speed, you might as well have a DRS push on you.
Absolutely.
Here we go. Frederick Larson going to throw it into turn 7 here. Gets a good release. You don't want to go too wide there. A lot of drivers are that's gonna be the death of them today. Is they're gonna hit that sand spot. The car's gonna pull them wide, and it's just gonna be the end. And then here is gonna be a crucial passing point. That hairpin at the end. That would be turn 8, and then turn 9. There's a pretty good curb there that could take some people out. So we're gonna be watching these sausage curbs today, because I have a feeling they're gonna be a killer for some races.
Especially with how close we've seen the field is. Everybody wants to push around. We're all going to be condensed. People want to get by. It's going to be very easy to overshoot it and get on that sausage curb, and it just unsettles the car. You're not able to recover.
Yep. Yeah. So, when you have that happen, you just got to wait until the car stops bouncing, which it takes a few seconds to happen. But speaking of bouncing, my heart is bouncing out of my chest right now, because we have no time left. This is it. The season is here. The race is underway in less than a minute. Let's get to our grid and see everybody lining up. See all these beautiful cars out here. And right now, Victor Barris will lead us. And this is his home Grand Prix. He is from Spain. So Victor, looking to take home some gold in his home country, in his home Grand Prix. And we have about 10 cars left to grid up, but this is a man of the hour right now. Victor Barris, going to be really pushing to try and get this and bring it home for his team of DriveX Esports. Man, I can't wait. 5 seconds left for people to grid up.
Absolutely, but James is not gonna.
Yep, here we go. We got lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we are lights out. Victor Barris pulling away a little bit. James Molaire has that inside. Pot's gonna be trying to help his teammate out. Look at that field behind him.
Will he set it up the inside? No, they all give each other space.
Yep, we're going to keep an eye on turn 1 here. Wow, great job from these drivers. Ooh, that is definitely netcode. Either that or some drivers got together. Let's hop up to our leaders here. Great racing so far.
Barris absolutely running away with this. Very confident.
Molaire's got to stick on his bumper to try and keep in that slip. Potts is slipping a little bit back.
PvP up into 4th, with Watts up into 5th, and Floatum in 6th.
Yeah, Floatman dropped down. We'll watch our gains and our losses here. We had PvP is up 2 positions. Watts is up 2 positions. Floatman down 2. Carver Robbins up 3. Larson is out of the race. It shows on our graphic here. 14 spots down. We have Rakowskis dropping down. He must have gone off. Yep, he is reset. Oh no, he is still in. Just a little bit of a connection issue there. And our graphic is doing some weird stuff here, guys. It is showing Danny O'Keefe in 4th, PvP in 1st, Watts, Floodman. Did we have an incident up front? Potts, Olsen. It looks like we might have had an incident up front.
Well, the safety car has not come out yet, so
either that or our graphic is wigging out on us a bit. It does not show in our graphic here that anybody has crashed.
Well, provisional lead is to panic, with Watts coming up behind him.
Yeah, I think our graphic is a little off, guys. So we are reloading it. We will be right back in just a moment. because it is showing James Molaire in 19th and Victor Barris in 18th, and Victor is leading our race currently. We will figure our graphic out, but currently Victor Barris up in first, James Molaire in second, and we have Panic PvP in third, and Joe Watts in fourth. And right now,
everybody's getting very comfortable.
Yep, we're starting to see these drivers fall into place. We have a fight just about everywhere right now. There we go. Now our graphic is back up and running. Barris up in first with the best lap of the race so far, 39.5. Some great speed. We have teammates Luke Smith and Anthony Wallace sitting in 8th and 9th. Martinez Janiskauskas sitting in 10th right now, and those are our top 10 that will get points. Don Satterfield fighting for the Turning Point team, but James Molaire keeping that gap down to within a second.
Very important to keep within that draft. If
Yep.
he loses that draft, it's going to be a lot harder to catch up. Not impossible, but a lot harder. But it looks like he is bringing that down a tenth a turn. May just be biding his time.
Yep, yeah, he is. He's really pushing it to get that that draft. He's right in it. He could make.
They
a
have
move.
completely cleared the rest of the field. Almost a 2-second gap to P3 and Panic.
Yep, we have.
It's a 2-horse race right now.
Yep, we have Panic sitting in third, Watts in fourth, Flowman in fifth. But the big thing is Potts is no longer in the race. We're gonna try and find what happened to Potts because he was right there with those leaders. There we go. So this is the last that we have of Potts. Was coming down the straight, and I'm not sure if he had a disconnect or what happened. Maybe he dropped back in the field. He might have had a spin out, but it does not record on our graphic. Like I said, we're having some issues with it, wanting to load all these cars. It could be that it is just a bunch of cars on the track, but we have James Molaire right now within 0.3 of a second, and behind them another battle going on between PvP and Watts. We also have Julie Redmond right on the tail of Danny O'Keefe. Brandon Walker on the tail of Jackson Carr. And Shecky Moskowitz on the tail of Brandon Walker as well.
Seems everybody's starting to get a little feisty now.
They got the car
Everybody's
underneath
settled
of them.
in.
Car's underneath of them. They're getting comfortable in the car, and that's going to a little bit of a lockup there from Molaire. But that's just going to make for some better racing. These guys and girls racing clean around each other is going to just boost their confidence even more, as we have our first couple back markers coming up. Victor Barris trying to run away from James Molaire, but he just cannot do it. James is keeping a less than 1 second gap.
He is keeping that good gap, but you can see he's starting to get a little frustrated. Locked up around turn 10. Didn't get a good exit onto the straight. He is getting impatient. He knows he's faster. He knows he can get past him. He just needs to put it together.
Yep. And is there any strategy to stay in that slip and just let him kind of pull you along to just keep some speed without really scrubbing your tires off there?
Well, absolutely. It's very easy for these drivers to get target fixation. So when you're supposed to be paying attention to your brake markers and your turn-in points, very easy just to look at the bumper of the car ahead and follow their movements, but that ultimately makes you slower. So you're just supposed to take a deep breath, look at your surroundings, gain composure, and then set off after him like he's not even there.
Yep. And we have first back marker in Alexander Carver Robbins, and he almost gets into Victor Barris there, letting by the top two cars here. You can see those brakes just red hot for James Mollaire. He's pushing. He's starting to drop back a little bit. He might be doing that to get out of that air. It might just be that passing that car wasn't as easy for Mollaire. And our other battle going on, PvP versus Joe Watts.
Also, keeping that gap very, very slim. He's going to have to... Oh, with it... Oh, he's got to run. Took off 2/10 throughout it. He may have a go at it. The end of turn 1. We'll see if Panic goes defensive.
Let's see. Panic going down on the inside. Watts going around the outside. Let's see if he can make this stick. He'll have the inside going into turn 2. If he does, then he gives it to him. But he's going to have the run out of turn 2 going into turn 3. Can he get on the inside? It does not look like he's going to. That little bit of slipstream might be lifting his nose a bit, making him go a little bit wide. They are fighting. Going into turn 4. Still side by side. Ooh, and he makes the switch. Sells him a dummy.
Amazing move.
Oh, and he just gets tapped a little bit. PvP. Still on the track. But wow, what a move there by Joe Watts. Up into the podium spots now. PvP is going to be right on his tail. He doesn't like what just happened, I'm sure. Just a tiny bit of contact. Might have been some netcode here for us. But wow, what a move by Joe Watts, making that stick. Great job.
Amazing switchback. Right before the breaking point, too, when Panic thinks that he's safe and he lets down his guard, and you can just send it right in there. And since it's a bank turn, you are able to break deeper in there if you're taking a steeper angle. Amazing move by Joe Watts. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yep, and we're going to jump to another battle going on right now. Anthony Wallace is right on the bumper of Frederick Larson. And Larson is fairly close to Luke Smith there.
As we say that, Mollaire takes fastest lap of the race with a 38.31, with Barris doing a 38.38.
Yep, Mollaire keeping that gap to within a second. He just needs to be able to get within striking distance and just, turn it on for one lap, get a good run on the inside, and then he'll have it. But as of right now, we have a pretty good field going on right here. Everybody within about a second and a half of each other. Luke Smith is 8 seconds back from Redmond, and Redmond's 3 seconds back from Panic. So we have a little bit of gap from the top 5 down, but from 6th place all the way down to 16th, there's less than a second, and these drivers are really putting on a show today.
Absolutely. As we say that, Larson goes up into 6th place around Smith.
And we have
Potts has some work to do.
Yeah, we have Jake Potts here in the Lumos vehicle, and we have a little bit of work to do. He's down in 14th right now. He was, if you remember, up in 3rd, running right behind his teammate James Mollaire, who is right now fighting Victor Barris. Let's see if we can jump to them. Barris trying so hard to keep Mollaire behind him. Mollaire's not going to let him get away too easy. Mollaire with not such a great exit there. He's still just out of that slipstream range, but Barris now fighting back with his own fast lap, kind of showing Mollaire, hey, I can be fast too when I want to be.
Absolutely, and we can see the top 4 all within a 10th on their race pace. Very impressive. Don't count anyone out of this race just yet. There's still a long way to go.
Oh, yeah, we have tons of racing. I mean, we saw yesterday a disconnect from Carlos Catao, and he just refused to quit. We had a disconnect, a caution late in the race, and with that, he came back and just took it. He took second. And that's with the disconnect, having to go to the pits, having to do another pit stop later on, sliding off the track a little bit. You never know what's going to happen, so just never give up. Just keep pushing. It's not over until you see that checkered flag.
Absolutely. And here comes Wallace on Smith, closing the gap ever so slightly.
Yep.
He's really going to need to stick it
So these guys are
in order to
teammates.
get that good run.
These guys are teammates. There might be a little bit of team orders to let Wallace buy Smith if Wallace is running a little bit quicker here.
He absolutely should. You never want to hold up your teammate.
Yep, either that or they're planning on, just keeping Smith out front. Wallace is going to put up a brick wall behind him. But we'll see how this goes. Wallace behind. And you can see cars catching him in Danny O'Keefe and Janikowskis. Joachim Flodman in the Team Banana livery. You got two yellow liveries right next to each other.
Oh, he's got the run.
We got Locals Auto Sports
Sends it on
and
the
Banana.
inside early.
Yeah, he really does. Normally you want to stick in that slipstream and get the get the pass right at the end. Otherwise, you see what happens here is Martinez has the little bit of an advantage on the outside. He might be able to make it stick, but Team Banana...
he sends it on the inside. Will he make it stick? He's still holding it. He does have the advantage going around turn 3.
And we have a third car getting into the mix here. Brandon Walker doesn't want to say...
Brandon Walker wanting a bit of the action.
He does not want to let these guys battle. He's going to try and take... almost 3 wide in turn 4. We have 2 cars behind them as well trying to get in on the action. We're going to have a 5-car race here with Jake Potts, which we know Jake Potts is fast. He was up in 3rd place earlier. This is where the action is. 5 cars within about 4/10 of each other right now.
Absolutely, and Walker and Flodlam through. Everybody
Yep.
else wants a piece of Janikowskis.
And this is for points. Walker and Flodman battling for that 10th place, and points are going to be they're going to be scarce this year since we have a 30+ car field. You're going to have only 1/3 of the grid getting points each week. So if you can get points, even if it's only a few, it's going to really benefit your team each week. And this 10th place spot is a lot more valuable this season than last season. Brandon Walker
Absolutely.
just pushing. Janikowskis getting pushed from behind from Jackson Carr.
Gets a little bit of a walk up. Going
Jake
into that
Potts
left turn.
is going to be looking for a pass here.
They all have the slip. Potts has the double slipstream. He may be able to pass both of them.
It's getting towards the end of the straight here. Let's see what happens. Potts
they're
is going to
send
go.
it 3 wide.
3 wide into turn 1. This is disastrous. Potts breaks really late, gets it to
Amazing.
stick.
Martinez just couldn't do anything. You're just stuck on the outside. If you turn in, you're not going to be able to hold that speed, and you're possibly going to be involved in a wreck.
We have Anthony Wallace just slipped on turn 3. We were talking about that earlier in the broadcast. Let's take a look at that really quick. Teammate right in front of him, Luke Smith, and Wallace is just coming around turn 3. A little too wide, tries to correct it and get inside. Slides off. Saves it, comes on safely, so he's back in the mix, but unfortunate there for Anthony Wallace, out of the points now.
Fortunately, no damage. Didn't hit the wall. He's still able to continue running.
Yep,
He's
great
not out of this
control.
just yet.
Great control there from the senior driver. This is his 3rd season here with us in the IFL, so he definitely has that F3 car under control. As we see 2 of the Locals Auto Sports drivers now. We have Rakowskis behind Janikowskis here. And Martinez has been having a hard time as we see team orders here. It looks like Rakowskis goes by, no problem, lets him by, and now you're going to see Martinez probably putting up the brick wall and holding up anybody that's going to try and attack his teammate. Right now we have Jake Potts pulling away from Jackson Carr. He is 1 place out of the points. We're going to jump up to 4th place where we have a good battle going on right now. Panic PvP.
Still sticking to it.
Yep.
Only 1.5 behind Barris. Still just stuck into him. Not losing him, but not over pushing either.
Right.
As we remember, he had that lockup going into the last chicane.
Yeah, you can think maybe he's just, doing a little bit of race control himself and you just not getting too ahead of himself, pushing himself to be a little bit faster, but not to the limit quite yet. You know, you want to save that burst of energy for yourself at the end of the race when you're really, really hurting for, ooh, as we see Panic PvP getting really close, when you're hurting for that little extra bit, you don't want to be too tired when you do it. And we're going to see a big run coming out of the final turn down the straight. Panic PvP is going to have the slip, and we're going to see these guys go into turn 1. We're also going to have O'Keefe and Flodman and Walker all within a second of each other coming down the straight as well. We will not see a move by Panic PvP, but here we go. We're going to do it again with 4 cars this time. We have Panic.
Very congested.
Yeah, I was going to say Panic is right there. These 4 cars. Brandon Walker sitting at the back. He is going to be just a little outside of it, but we have Flodman. He's not going to make the move on O'Keefe, and he touches O'Keefe. No. Wreck in turn 1 going into turn 2. It looks like it is mostly clear. Car's still on the track, though.
No safety car called. They're both still running.
Car's trying to re-enter. Ooh, really close there by Shecky Moskowitz making the pass on turn 3. But that puts Walker in 8th. Potts is in the 9th now. Very unfortunate for the two drivers there. It looked like that might have been a little bit of net code. They were really close, but I don't think they had touched in reality.
Oh no, Potts is dropping down the leaderboard. He was 8th. Did he make a mistake? Did he spin?
He might have gone off track and needed to let some cars by and let that delta.
He was making a move on Walker in the last 4 positions. As we saw how congested it was, it does not surprise me. Yep. Possibly a lockup, but he's back at the pack again.
Yep, we have Joe Watts here making a move on Panic PvP, who had made a move on him earlier. Let's see.
Doesn't quite have the run.
Nope, but coming
possibly
out of turn
3.
Yep, he's been setting it up in turn 3 so far this race. He goes sacrifices that first turn and second turn to get that really great exit out of turn 2 into turn 3. And he's got the speed, but not quite the room. And our graphic is going wild right now. I think we have a couple people probably pitting from the looks of it.
Flodman's pitting?
Yep, pit lane for Flodman. And Molaire starting to close the gap slightly. 0.8 of a second now. He was up at 1.5 seconds at one point, back down to 1.1 to 1.2 for most of his run here, and now he's closing the gap. This might be the push that he's going for, trying to just wear out the driver in front of him. It could also be some lap traffic that was getting in the way. Victor Barris, ooh, definitely some lap traffic, trying to get on that exit. Vincent Saint is going to be in the way. He gets out of the way now, but Molaire trying to get in the slip of Saint. See if that helps him out.
If Saint lets Molaire through, you know you're going to buy him a beer.
Yep, there we go.
Holding up Barris like that, back down to 0.8. We're still in this.
0.7 now.
Molaire
wow.
Just applying consistent pressure to Barris. You know Barris is sweating. Am I faster than him? He's catching me some places, not others. Just putting him under pressure, not just making him worry, making him think about you.
Little bit wide there from Panic. We have Watts still looking to run him down. Watts is doing the same thing to Panic that Molaire is to Barris right now. He's keeping that gap down to, you know, almost nothing and just pushing and trying to make a jump on him whenever he can. But Molaire right now keeping that 0.7. Ooh, drops to 0.8 right now. Let's see what happened. And they're going down that final back stretch before the hairpin. Molaire doing a great job today. Barris really showing up for his DriveX team, really showing his home crowd that he wants this. He's going to win it for him.
With Panic in 3rd, Joe Watson 4th, and Julie Redmond up in 5th. Impressive showing from her today. with Frederick Larson in 6th, Nick Marshall in 7th, Satterfield in 8th, and Luke Smith in 9th.
Yep, and Brandon Walker right now in 10th. Looks like he's probably in the pits. I think, like I said, our graphic is wigging out a bit for anybody who's in the pit lane. I think is just showing out as of right now. But yeah, we got some drivers that are, you know, making some moves, moving up in field. Flodman up into 13th, Olsen up in the 12th, Alberg into 11th. And a big surprise is Nick Marshall. He has improved so much. Ooh, and we have somebody off track. Did not quite show on our tracker who that was, but one of the black and yellow cars was off track in turn 3. And right now, yeah, our graphic is doing some weird things. We're going to try and reload it again here for you folks.
With Luke Smith now taking his pit stop. Darius Rakowskis. Danny O'Keefe. And Potts is making a move on Janikowskis. And he takes the place.
And right now it's showing Jake Potts sitting in 10th. Janikowskis just couldn't do anything. Potts is just trying to get back up there with his teammate. James looks like he's dropping back slightly down to almost a second over the last lap and a half to Victor Barris.
Absolutely. On lap 16, they're going to start feeling some tire degradation, maybe thinking about fuel. We're about to see some pit stops. Here's where the strategy comes in. Will Miller be able to undercut Barris? He takes his pit stop earlier. Is he going to go for the overcut? This is the critical decision.
Yeah, we've observed over the past seasons that the undercut does not work nearly as well as the overcut does in this series. Ooh, and we have a car letting a couple drivers by, but really
very difficult place to give a blue flag.
Yep.
Very difficult place to give a blue flag.
Barely got out of the way there, but we have Rakowskis making the run right now on Danny O'Keefe, and Larson out of the pits, just getting in the way just slightly. Danny O'Keefe taking that inside line, trying to be a little defensive. Rakowskis right behind him, going to try and get him in turn 3 maybe.
But O'Keefe stays ahead.
We're gonna bring
I don't think he'll have the run coming down to this next turn. Be very brave to send it on the inside, but he thinks better of it. Live to fight another day. Set up the next move.
Yeah, we're going to pop up our pit graphic here and see when everybody has pit. So most of our top leaders have not pit yet. Larson pit on lap 15. Flodman lap 12. Jackson Carr lap 13. Carver Robbins on lap 13. So everybody else should have to pit if our graphic is correct.
With Malaire dropping down to 2 seconds. Still very close. Still making Barris nervous, but he's going to be seeing that his pace is starting to drop. He should be thinking about a pit by now.
Yep, and we have a huge advantage if you can get that pit stop down pat. I mean, that could be the difference between Molaire taking Barris, and taking that win, or Barris, just making that gap a little bit bigger and running away with it.
Absolutely. And since everybody's going to start making their pit stops, you got to think about, will I have clean air coming out of here? Will I be battling with people? If you're able to get into a clean air section with everybody else taking their pit stops, you are going to be able to make that undercut work, but it's very difficult. You have to read the field very well. As we see our drivers space out a little bit.
Yep,
with Potts catching Rakowskis.
Yep, Potts
within a second.
He's our closest battle right now. We haven't used it yet, but let's show our battle box here.
Oh, new features popping up all the time. Keep
Look at that.
on my toes.
Look at that. Boom. Jake Potts closing the gap here on Rakowskis.
He is within 0.6. He's been consistently gaining on Wachowskis, so we'll see where he decides to make his move.
And this is for 8th. Like we said, everybody really pushing. Ooh, and we have pits going on right now from, I believe, Barrett. Nope, not Barris, just Moller.
No, Moller goes early.
He's
going to try and make the undercut work.
Yep, let's see if this will work.
Clean air.
He should come out near his teammate, Jake Potts. Oh, nope.
Good pit exit. As we see Watts take his pit stop as well.
Yep, Watts in,
everybody's
Moller
going to be pitting now.
Yeah, he's going to get these tires warm for when Barris comes back around and has to pit. Moller will have those warm tires. He'll have the fuel that he needs, and it will it'll be interesting. They'll be coming out of the pits right next to each other, or Barris will be coming out of the pits right next to Moller as he's coming down the straight. So we'll see how that undercut effect works. Joe Watts right now trying to chase down Brandon Walker. Walker still needs to pit. Redmond sitting in 3rd. She still needs to pit. Panic needs to pit. Let's pop up our graphic once more. But Moller, the highest on the board that has pit. Watts, the 2nd highest on the board to pit. Larson sitting in 10th place.
Can we just take a moment and appreciate what Larson is doing with the double stop and still in 10th?
Wow.
Amazing. Amazing consistency. That's very, very impressive.
Yeah, something must have gone wrong, but the ability to come back up into 10th place after a double stop, that's impressive. Yeah, everybody else having 1 stop except for Carver Robbins, who has 2 stops. And he's down in 22nd.
Barris is taking his pit stop right now.
Yep, Barris is in the pits. So this is going to be huge.
Got to really push it.
Nope, Barris is not in the pits. He just had a little bit of a connection issue, so it popped him to the pits in the graphic and in iRacing software. But Redmond looks like she might be in the pits. Either that or our graphics going a little crazy. Nope, Redmond in the pits. She drops down into 20th, 21st. 22nd. That is the power of these pit stops. You can go from 3rd down to 20th, but now our graphic is catching up, and she's only in 7th. I don't know what's going on with our graphic, guys, but it is wigging out. I apologize. I'm not sure if it's on our iRacing end or on our graphic software end. Either way, we'll try and keep you as informed with the correct standings as possible.
With Jake Potts taking his pit stop now, he's got all the work to do.
Yep, he is just going to be, flat out through the entire rest of the race. Just really trying to set that pace and try and maybe even take a fast lap. As we see Barris now coming into the pits, he slows down a little early. Probably trying to be safe, not get a penalty. We've seen that happen in the past and just completely ruin races. And Barris coming into the pits. Let's see his exit here. PvP steps up into 1st, and Moller is trying to close that gap. Let's jump to Moller. Coming down the pit straight. This is going to be close. Moller has those hot tires. They're warm.
He'll be gaining.
Yep, he's 4 seconds back, but gaining, tenths of a second at a time right now. Moller is hungry to get up into fighting position here and really try and get right behind Barris again. Barris, though, great job to get out on the pit. It looked like he had come in a little bit slow, but that might have been just a little bit of a cautionary entrance just to make sure there were no penalties. And Moller right now, pedal is down. He is flying. And there's Barris just up ahead of him. And wow, we have a tight race. Molaire still closing, 2.7 seconds now. Barris is doing everything he can just to get his tires back up to temp. And we're going to go to Redmond, who's making a pass right now. Ooh, too wide.
Ooh. Amazing placement. Oh, they're fighting.
Yeah, we have 3 cars right here on top of each other.
He's going to stick it on the inside.
Julie Redmond.
O'Keefe hangs it around the outside. That was a bit wide. I wonder if he has a slowdown.
Carver Robbins trying to unlap himself.
Breaks a bit too deep, but Julie does not want to run into the back of him.
Yep.
Very, very close racing. Great help.
Carver Robbins there really wanting to unlap himself. But right now we have super close battle. Frederick Larson. Julie Redmond. There is Mr. Robbins, who should be getting the black flag from Shecky Moskowitz. Because they are just all that close together, and Moskowitz comes into the pits. As we see Allberg, 21st place. Not the race that they wanted today. Flodman, his teammate, out of points. Brandon Walker sitting in 9th for the Cuda Racing.
What a very impressive race Walker has had. Started 27th, up into 9th, with 2 people in front of him haven't made their pit stop yet. Very, very impressive. Well held by Brandon Walker.
Yep, and we have Jake Potts here in 10th. Made his way back from a little bit of a mess up in the beginning of the race that we didn't quite get on the stream here. Rakowskis sitting in 12th. He has a little bit of work to do to get into the points. Joel Abney, and that's
takes a spin.
That's been the story of Abney and I believe his teammate Frank Settle today. As we have one of the Tiger drivers. Shecky Moskowitz coming up behind him in 13th. Frank Settle, his teammate for Mamba. They are a brand new team, a subsidiary of the Orion team. Don Satterfield here for Turning Point, sitting in 14th. He's got some work to do. Nick Marshall, probably our most improved driver from last season. He is doing a phenomenal job this season. He's in top of the field, or top half of the field. He finished fairly low on the standings last season, but if I had to give a most improved award, it would definitely be to Nick Marshall. He was on Wolfpack Racing last year and has been picked up by the Cuda Evo team. And right now, Molaire is back to his spot that he was in, 1.1 seconds. And there's Victor
he was
Barris.
1 second faster. Barris with a 39 and Molaire with a low 38.
Yep, 11
He's
laps
making the most
go.
of this difference in tire temperature.
Yep, 11 laps to go. The tires are probably starting to get fairly even here, but Molaire is just pushing harder and harder. And Barris, he's feeling the pressure. You got to believe that Barris is, just going to think, hey, I just got to hold this together. And I mean, Molaire is just closing the gap so quickly. A little bit of lap traffic there in Nick Marshall getting in the way of James Molaire, but these guys are just so quick. They are 20 seconds out in front of Joe Watts, who is in 3rd. Molaire having a little bit of trouble getting out of that last turn as compared to his counterpart there, Barris. We had Joe Watts sitting back in 3rd. He is 21 seconds back from the leader. Larson is sitting back in 4th. Frederick Larson coming up from, I believe he started in 5th. And Julie Redmond in 5th. Luke Smith, I think, is maybe taking his pit stop. Yeah, he's dropping down. Danny O'Keefe up into 6th. Luke Smith up into 7th. Brandon Walker showing he is out. Let's jump to him. He's in 6th. Yeah, our graphic just doing what it does. Ooh, Molaire. Up in the 1st? Nope. Barris just had some connection issues. This graphic is going to give me a heart attack today, Weston.
Yeah, we'll have this sorted out by the next race. We're just playing it by eyes right now. But Joe Watts still holding it in 3rd with Frederick Larson in 4th. Jake Potts up into 5th. Very, very impressive after his early incident, dropping to the back of the grid. He's down into 7th with Brandon Walker in 6th. And Julie Redmond, having done her pit stop, up into 5th. Amazing. Very well held. We've seen this grid just shuffle around depending on consistency. Very important for these drivers just to keep it together. As the last 10 laps of the race, they're going to want to start thinking about pushing. Hopefully they've saved their tires and they have enough fuel, because it is flat out from here on.
Yep, and we see, Brandon Walker sitting in 6th, and that is 21 positions. He has jumped up. I mean, that
absolutely phenomenal.
That in my mind, that's a driver of the day performance right there.
That's a statement. Absolutely.
27th, not a great qualifying. Some things might have gone wrong, not getting a good lap down, and he just turns it around and cuts through the field up to 6th place, 21 positions up. Let's take a look at him here.
Well, he didn't set a qualifying time. Very, very impressive that he was able to carve through. That just shows consistency and speed. And he deserves to be up here.
Yep. And we're going to take a look at... There is Molaire.
Molaire just not able to get that last little bit of 10th. They're so even. He's just not able to find it.
Yeah, Barris really doing a great job to hold him off. I mean, these guys... It seems like, Molaire just doesn't have enough. But if you look at the rest of the field... I mean, they are 22 seconds now ahead of everybody, just pulling away. These guys are in a league of their own, Barris and Molaire right now. And really, it's just been a huge pleasure to watch this race. It's been going crazy from the beginning. Everybody's really close to each other. Nick Marshall here in 15th. Jackson Carr. Patrick Olson. I mean, these cars are all within, a second to a second and a half. We have 30-plus car grid. It's just been a great race today.
Absolutely, with no safety car.
Yeah, no safety
just
car.
Open for the win.
Yep, no
Everybody's
safety
able to
car.
race their race. We've seen a couple nasty bumps, but nobody's been able to recover from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a couple cars going off, smacking the wall. I mean, that'll happen. You'll have that from any series, but as long as it's not an obstruction on the track, then we see the race goes on. And, turn 1, being the very first race of the season, a lot of drivers have not raced in this field yet. A lot of new teams just getting used to, who's where, who's aggressive, who's a little less aggressive, who's going to take the inside as opposed to the outside line. You start learning that over the season. And being race number 1, man, these drivers have done a phenomenal job just to respect each other, entering the track, in a timely fashion, but not getting into a spot where they're going to take somebody out in the process. So, great job to all the drivers today so far.
The more that we see our racers race together, they're going to develop that respect more, understand each other's boundaries and habits, and we're just going to see progressive, better racing throughout the rest of the season. I'm really excited to see what this grid is. But right now, it's looking like a 2-horse race still between Barris and Molaire.
Yep.
20 seconds ahead of the field. Absolutely incredible pace. These boys are really pushing each other, we can see.
Yep, and we're going to jump to the closest battle that we have on hand right now is Flodman trying to pass Olsen here.
He's definitely close enough.
And this is unfortunately not for points, but like I said, only 1/3 of our grid is going to be getting points. With 30 plus drivers, it's very, very competitive. You have, a third of the drivers getting points. Every point's going to matter, and you can see, Barris is trying to just take it home for his team. Molaire's pushing hard. Potts pushed back up into the top 10 to get some points. As of right now, Walker and Redmond looking really good there for the Kuda Works team. 5th and 6th, they'll be getting a good handful of points. Larson, like we saw yesterday, taking 3rd place in the F2. He is right there in that 4th place, and Joe Watts in 3rd. 25 seconds back now from the leader, as we see Flodman going on the inside of Olsen here.
He doesn't have the speed. He won't be able to hold it. Or will he?
He is able to. Maybe a little bit of conservative racing there from Olsen. Like we said, you really get a feel for who is going to be giving you some trouble, who's going to be really pushing and be aggressive, who's going to be just, saying, hey, I'm a little bit slower, I'm just going to make it an easy pass for him. And Olsen doesn't want to get tangled up in anything, so he lets Flodman by, and Flodman is, just starting to pull away from him. But right now,
you don't want to lose time fighting with somebody.
Yep, that's another thing.
You want to let them by, get into their slipstream, get as much as you can out of the exchange, and then just keep it moving. Because the more you fight with another driver, the more time you're going to lose to the person in front.
Yep, and we see Molaire right now. He is a second and a half back. It's not looking great right there, but you never know what's going to happen. We could have a safety car here in the last couple minutes. Just a big wreck down the home stretch or in one of the tighter turns, and the last couple turns there. That last sector is really tight. So you never know what's going to happen. And Molaire could just turn the afterburners on. He really only needs to make up about 8/10, maybe even 7/10 of a second in these last 7 laps here, and he will be within slipstream distance. And that's really all you need to get into. If he can get into that slipstream down these straights, he will be, able to close that gap really quickly.
But let's just not put this on James. Barris has been incredibly consistent this entire race, not making any mistakes, not giving an inch to Molaire, as he's just biting, wanting to take over for Barris, and Barris is just not giving him an opportunity. Hasn't been able to send it. He's been able to stick with him, so obviously it's comparable pace, but Barris just not giving him an opening.
Yep, and let's jump on board here with Victor Barris, and let's see him take us through a lap here.
Absolutely. So you're coming through the straights. This first turn is so critical, especially going into turn 3. So you brake at the orange marker, go on the right, try and hit that sausage curve, but don't. Keep it on the middle of the track here to open up that right turn as much as possible. Don't get on the throttle too hard, you will lose the rear. As you go down to the second straight, brake at the bridge, throw it in there, go down to third.
Yep,
keep it as tight as possible, wash it out.
He's coming up to some lap traffic here. They, might pose a threat. You never know. Lap traffic is normally going to try and get out of the way, but some drivers just want to try and keep themselves from being unlapped. As we see, here we go. 2 of them right here on this high-speed corner.
Spot going right around the turn. He's definitely going to have to slow down.
Yep, and there we
stay
go.
On the right for him.
2 great, respectful
Good on those drivers
there.
But they definitely slowed him up going on around that turn.
Yep,
so
and
take
James,
the left,
James down to 1.2 seconds, and now he's getting hung up.
Oh, down to 1.7. That could be the decider right there. It is not over yet. Neither of these drivers have made a critical mistake. It is absolutely incredible to watch them just go toe-to-toe.
Yeah, Molaire dropping back to about 2 seconds. I'm not sure how much more Molaire is going to be able to push, especially with a little bit of lap traffic they're getting in the way. But we have in 8th place right now, a battle going on. 10th place. Rukowskis going up against Danny O'Keefe. And Rukowskis is closing the gap here. Let's see if he can't get a few more points. He's going to try and steal as much as he can from O'Keefe. And here we go. Rukowskis is going to try and get a good run on him down the main straight, I'm sure. He's trying to just get as close as he can, and then he's going to want to really set up that exit to be able to throw himself down that long straightaway. Here we go. See who gets the better exit.
A good exit.
Yeah, Rukowskis already making up time.
Close enough.
Already making up time within a half a second here. We'll see how this works
He's
here.
close enough. If he wants to be very daring, he can throw it down the inside, but I don't think he can make it stick even if he wanted to. No, he makes a smart decision. He stays behind. He's setting it up for turn 3, going down the straight. Very, very smart move. Keeping it on the inside. Keeping that car stiff as he goes wide to get out of that dirty air.
And just barely holding it on the track there.
Oh, he's definitely got the pace. He's making up on him. He's doing the right thing. He's braking after a car ahead, reacting to what he does.
Ooh.
As he sends it on the inside and he taps him on the right. Oh no.
O'Keefe looked like he might have been going a little bit wide.
He just wanted to send it on him.
O'Keefe slowing down.
That may be up for review. Oh, he may have suspension damage. Not able to put pressure on that inside left. He may have suspension damage. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, just taking a look at his car. Doesn't look like anything huge.
He has that. No, that tire is definitely broken. That suspension is pointed forward, probably with the steering rod too.
As we jump on with James Mollaire, who is now 2.6 seconds back. Do you think Mollaire is kind of, I don't want to say conceding the win, but do you think he's just kind of backing off a little bit?
Well, it's very hard to be unrealistic with yourself. With 3 laps to go and almost a 3-second gap, if he's got any pace, he needs to pull it out now. But I think Mollaire's looking at what he's done. He can be very, very impressed by that. With still 27 seconds to P3, Mollaire's more than proven himself to be a capable driver.
Yep, and we're going to jump to Joe Watts in 3rd position here. And they have a beautiful livery there too.
That is phenomenal, isn't it? I love that. I love that color.
Yeah, the color.
Good complementing colors.
The pinstriping looks really nice on the matte car. It just, they always do a good job with their livery, and he is putting it on show in 3rd place as of right now. He's still got Larson behind him. Larson keeping at that 4-second mark, and he's gonna have to get by a lapped car here, and he does very easily. Nick Marshall there on his inside. Nick Marshall knows that he's a veteran here in the IFL. He knows to not try and get in the way of any of these lapped cars or any of these cars on the main lap. If he is down, he gets that blue flag, gets out the way. Very courteous driving.
Absolutely. As we can see on the relatives there, Moskowitz is very close to Janikowskis, trying to get that point for his team.
Points
Let's see if he'll be able to pull it up. Oh, he goes very deep onto the sausage curbs. As we were talking about earlier, it's going to take you a second to recover from that. That's very unfortunate. He was holding it, but he just went too deep on the brakes, just went wide.
Yeah,
you really have to brake early for that turn and throw it in, not outbrake yourself.
And we really, like we said in the warm-up and the qualifying there, you really don't want to touch those sausages because it could kill a race. I mean, he's fighting and fighting hard. We only have a couple laps left here, but do you want to try and finish the race at all, or are you going to be off the track for it? But Moskowitz jumps up a position, so now Janikowskis is that 10th spot. He has the last point, and Moskowitz is going to fight for it. Mollaire, I think, like we were saying before, he doesn't have anything else to prove. He has done phenomenal. He's down to 5.2 seconds back from Barris. Just doing some race control, making sure he's going to take home that 2nd place spot. As long as Barris doesn't slide off the track or anything goes wrong, Mollaire should finish 2nd. Barris should finish 1st. Watts right now sitting in 3rd.
With Redmond in 4th.
Yep, Larson in 4th, Redmond in 5th.
Amazing show by Lumos and Kuda today. Phenomenal showing.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of points from the pairing of Redmond and Walker, 5th and 6th. That'll be some great points. Barris up there going to get that 25 points. And honestly, I'm not sure that he has a full-time teammate for the DriveX team, but Barris could really use some help up there in that top spot. We saw last year Caitlin Height took the championship for driver and team both. on her own. So it's definitely possible if Barris keeps this pace up to take the championship. But teams like Lumos and Kuda, they just have teams that are going to finish in the top 5, the top 10, as we see Wallace up in 7th, Janikowskis in 8th, Moskowitz for Tiger Driver in 9th, Rakowskis. All these drivers, on another day, they might be farther up. Their teammates might be there with them. It's just today it wasn't some of the drivers' days, as we see a lot down in the 30 driver field that are out. It's all about consistency in these races. They're 33 laps. As we are on a white flying lap here, lap 33. Victor Barris is looking just to close it out here. Same for James, and Watts really doesn't have to defend too much from Frederick Larson. So we should see, unless anything goes wrong, a Barris, Moller, Watts podium. And what a race these guys put on. Nearly flawless from Barris and Moller both. Watts right there with him. He had to cut through the field a little bit. He's up 4 positions. And if our graphic is correct, Walker up into 5th. 22 spots. I'm just going to say Walker, driver of the day. So
yeah, absolutely stunning performance by Walker.
That's my vote.
It's not easy to get through here, and he did most of that work before the first pit stop. He was able to hold all of that progress after his first pit stop. Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal driving.
Yep, and we see, look at that livery too. Great livery. The Kuda guys always bring out some really nice looking stuff. And
they are boss, aren't they? They're always so nice.
It's looking good for him. And Victor Barris is coming to the final turn here. He is going to get straight on the straightaway, and he is going to take home the Spanish Grand Prix, his home Grand Prix, our first winner of Season 3, Victor Barris for DriveX Esports. Congrats. As we
absolutely
see,
phenomenal drive by Barris.
We see Moller
cross the finish line, coming in 2nd. Amazing race.
He was celebrating.
Joe Watts coming up eventually, as we see the top 2 absolutely running away with this, with Watts 25 seconds behind.
Yep,
Here
Watts
he comes, coming around the final straight.
There he is, taking 3rd place. He's our final podium with that bronze. Joe Watts, Larson, a couple cars behind him here. Nick Marshall. Great race from these drivers. Great race. Orion Racing going to take home some good points.
Absolutely.
Julie Redmond finishing in 5th.
4th. Redmond in 5th. Walker coming home in 6th. Our personal drivers of the day up here in the booth. Jake Potts coming home 7th.
Yep. Let us know what you think for driver of the day, everybody. Brandon Walker, 21 positions up. Great drive from him. Definite driver of the day for us up here in the booth. Potts coming home in 7th. Oop, and Jackson Carr jumping off the track there. Luke Smith in 8th. And we have a little bit of, I don't want to say a battle, but these guys are coming around the fast last turn there, and Janikowskis will get that final point in 10th. Moskowitz was right behind him there for a second, within 0.9 seconds, so we might have had something exciting there at the end, but great race from all of these drivers. Wow. Just constant action from all 30-plus guys and girls out there. Great racing from everybody. No cautions on our first race of the season. No cautions.
Yeah, that's a good sign. No canary in the coal mine. Fortunately, Panic, who was up in the top 5, spun out. Lost his top 5 position. He was also showing a very impressive race day today.
Yep, Panic could have been right there with Watts. He was fighting there with Joe Watts.
Absolutely.
Something just had to have happened to him. Spun. We didn't quite see the event. Like I said, the graphics been a little goofy for us today, so sorry if we have missed anything that should have been covered.
But absolutely phenomenal race today. If this is an indication of how the season's going to continue to go, I'm very, very excited.
Oh yeah, we're super excited about the rest of the season. Super close race here, and we're going to try and get our drivers into our chat here and get some interviews going on. because we just had some phenomenal racing. Barris, Miller, Watts on the podium. Larson fourth. We'll pop up a little bit better of a graphic here for you.
Yeah. I was informed that Victor Barris may only speak Spanish, so we may unfortunately not get an interview with him.
That's all right. He takes home his home Grand Prix. How about that? I mean, that's something special to be able to go to your home track, represent your home, and just take it. So, and then James Miller racing for the U.S., Joe Watts for the U.K., and then, like I said, we have Frederick Larson, Julie Redmond, Brandon Walker for the CUDA team, Jake Potts, Lumos driver as well, Luke Smith, and Anthony Wallace in 8th and 9th for Turn 1. They're going to get some good points. They're going to be up there in the team standings. Martinez Janikowskis in 10th, taking home the last point. But we'll go down our graphic here. And right now we have Shecky Moskowitz, Darius Rakowskis, in 11th and 12th, Don Satterfield in 13th, Nick Marshall in 14th, Joachim Floodman in 15th. If I could get our graphic to move here. Here we go. Patrick Olson in 16th, Danny O'Keefe in 17th, Alexander Carver-Robbins in 18th, Joel Abney in 19th, Yalmer Alberg in 20th, Vincent Saint in 21st, Jackson Carr 22nd, Frank Settle in 23rd, Panic PvP, who we saw had great pace and was up there in the top 5 consistently. Something must have happened to him. He crashed with 13 laps left. 24th, Steve Bunting in 25th, and Michael Kuzmano in 26th. And that is it, folks. That is our final standings here.
Absolutely phenomenal racing today. Very, very close. Everybody was really pushing, but after around lap 5, everybody kind of settled in, knew who their mark was, and just started pushing from there. Very well held by everybody with no cautions. Amazing race.
Yeah, really, really great job by these guys. And girls.
And girls.
But we are going to pull in to start James Moller into the booth here. James, my man. Great racing.
All right, thank you.
How was that from your perspective? How were you feeling during that whole race? It was super close. A really long, 33 laps of clean racing, and you were trying to run Barris down for the entire thing. How was that, mentally towards the end of the race, and how was that physically for you towards the end of the race?
Exhausting. Yeah, it was absolutely exhausting. That's but I'm happy. I'm happy with it. I honestly, I could race 100 times and I won't have a complete race better than that. So I gave it everything I had there. Till the end, of course, where I decided to play it a little safer. But he's quick, consistent. It's going to be tough this season, but glad to get some points out of it. That's for sure.
Yep. Yeah, your teammate Jake Potts finished in 7th. So 2nd and 7th, that should be a good chunk of points there for the Lumos Motorsports team. And then you have Victor Barris showing up out of nowhere, his home Grand Prix, and takes it. What are you guys going to do next week to try and prepare for another Victor Barris assault on the Lumos team?
We'll just keep worrying about what we can control, trying to stay alive, not spinning out in T1, Jake, and just keeping it together, keeping clean, and I think the points will add up for themselves. We knew coming in we'd have a decent shot at things, a strong team. We've been together since the first IFL season, back with No Fear Racing, so we know each other well. We work together well, and we'll definitely be looking to be a factor this year.
Yep, James and Jake, IFL veterans from season 1, where they had their own team, No Fear Racing, like you said, and have been racing together ever since. It's been an honor to watch you guys, and now you guys are right there at the top of the grid. Unfortunate, like you just kind of said, Jake Potts there sliding off into T1, but he made up for it. He came back through the grid, got P7. Like I said, some great points for the Lumos guys today. Any other questions you got for our man here in second place, James Miller?
Yeah, absolutely. So James, after your pit stop, you went from about 4-second gap coming out to just about 1 second in under 2 laps, and then it just kind of stalled. Were you getting frustrated seeing how close he was, not being able to get closer? Were you waiting for the tire temps to come back to you? What was going on there during those last 10 laps?
So, I knew he was just coming out in his pit, and he was going to be on cold tires and heavy on fuel, and so I was pushing, as much as I could get out of mine, as well as I was only, I think, a lap and a half or two deep on after my pit. So I knew I was going to close it back to about where we were before. I think there was a little bit of traffic. I got a tow off somebody on the front straight, probably got me up to within 0.8. But, I think on a lap-by-lap basis, we were pretty much separated by a tenth here or there. I saw the fastest overall lap was bouncing back and forth every 3 laps. So, our pace was just too similar, and I think overall, he was just faster. I just could not manage to get close enough to really put any fear into him. So, it's frustrating, but it's telling for the season. I'm sure I'll see him again.
Absolutely. If you guys keep battling like that, we're in for one hell of a season. Keeping it within a second, almost the entire race. Very impressive and well held, James. Good job.
Thank you, boys. I appreciate it. Shout out to Lumos, all the Lumos boys, everybody over in Ireland. Y'all have a good night.
Congrats, James. Good job on the P2.
Yep, congrats. We'll see you next week. Hopefully up here in the booth for another podium interview. But now we're going to bring in Victor Barris here.
Hi everyone, I will try my best with my English. I'm a Spaniard. And
that is fine.
For our lack of English pronunciation, but it's okay.
That's okay.
No, that's fine. Congratulations on the win, representing the Spanish hometown. How do you feel after that win, that dominant victory too?
Actually, thank you very much. Actually, I feel surprised because I actually didn't know how fast were you guys. I was convinced by my team manager to join the league. I have very limited time, and I was just, racing, trying my best, and see where I was going to end up. And fortunately, I end up in top spot. So that's I cannot believe it, really.
Absolutely phenomenal job. You're able to hold James Miller behind you about a second throughout the entire race, and then after the pit stop he was catching you almost 2 seconds a lap. You were able to pull ahead. Were you just waiting for the tires to come to you? Were you worried? Was he in your head putting pressure on you? And how were you able to stay composed throughout that race-long pressure from James?
Well, actually, when I came out of the pits, I was 4 seconds ahead, and that gave me a confident boost. But I think I was maybe too confident because I was taking very easy, not to make mistakes with cold tires. The gap just vanished and started to push to look for a decent pace. And eventually the temperature came up, the balance of the car also came up. I feel great. Just when he was super close to me, I think that was when the turning point that the car came together. And I just set up my pace. I was a little bit lucky in some lapped cars maybe. My weapon here was just trying to be consistent, having a fast pace, not making mistakes, hoping for him to make a mistake. And well, he didn't make many, but it was just enough to keep ahead.
Yep, yeah,
absolutely. With both of you clearing P3 by almost 27 seconds at one point, you two were in a league of your own. Very, very well held with almost no mistakes from either of you. I mean, throughout the entire race, you guys were nip and tuck. It was very, very exciting to watch. Very well held.
Yeah, from inside the car was a little bit stressing at some points. It was very, very fun. I was every lap hoping for him to make a mistake. Actually, I know that's very nice. That but that's the reality. I could push maybe 1 to 10 faster, but taking lots of risk. Yeah, it was really on the edge.
Yeah. What's your strategy going into next week with not the home track, but you're going to have a whole field of drivers that are going to be hungry right behind you, especially James Miller. He's going to be chomping at the bit to get back on the track with you. What's the strategy going into next week?
The strategy will be exactly the same. I would just try to fill the car and finding a good pace, and we will see where that ends up. I mean, if I'm P1, P2, or P10, I'm okay with that. I don't want to turn crazy now and try to and find more chance. I think that this is a good starting point. It's very early in the season. We will see halfway the season where I am, and if I have to make a push, that's it. I mean, just keep working like today.
Yep, yeah, and we're going to be in Brazil next week at Carlos Pace. How are you feeling at that track? Is that a track you're familiar with?
Yeah, it's actually a track I like pretty much. I think it's give maybe a better overtaking opportunity than this one. This one it's extremely difficult to follow another car, and I took advantage of that. But yeah, I would say that I like it pretty much. Interlagos almost as much as my home track, so that's good.
Awesome, that is great to hear. Well, Victor, congrats on the win. We are going to move on to our next interview. Enjoy it this week, and we'll see you back on the track next week.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for the broadcast.
Yep.
Congrats, Victor.
All right, we're going to bring in third place, Joe Watts. Joe, great race. Those two in first and second had incredible pace, but you brought home the last spot on the podium. Really did a great job to keep consistent and keep that speed up. How you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really expect to be in the top three. Like yesterday, I did the practice session with a few other guys, and I was thinking, cool, I'm like 3 seconds off of the fastest guy. And even in practice before quali, I think I was P8, P9. I think I qualified P7. So I was sort of just hoping for a top 10 finish, and I was going to be happy with that. I'm normally sort of very strong around Barcelona, but I just struggled. I mean, normally I do the historic version. It's the last sort of sector I struggle with. So yeah, I just picked them off one by one, and then had a good race with PvP, and then eventually got past him. And I think he got back past me, but then I think he went off, or I jumped back past him on the pit stops. I'm not sure. It wasn't too bad a race, but the two front guys, they had crazy pace today.
Yep. Yeah, and for being 3 seconds behind in practice, you really made a huge improvement from then, because third place, I mean, it's not an easy task, especially with, I think our field ended up being 26 drivers. How do you stay clean in a field that size with a track that, everybody's going to be within a second of each other, essentially?
I mean, really, it's all about being sensible. It's a long race. It's a 33-lap race, and making sort of crazy moves on the first few laps really isn't worth it. And to be fair to everyone, sort of, obviously, I only saw people in the sort of top 10 on the first few laps. Everyone was very sensible, and we all knew that we had cold tyres. And it's thinking of that. I don't need to make a move right now, because we're still all going to be in the same position in 3 laps time when the tyres are warm and we can race properly. And like as you all know, especially in iRacing, it can be very sketchy on the first few laps. So it's just being sensible and not doing stupid moves and sort of keeping your head cool.
Yep, yeah, we didn't see a caution this race. It was, first race of the season. We kind of expected there to be one, but no caution at all. Was that a bit of a surprise for you?
Yeah, obviously I didn't do the full season last season, but I think every race I did, which was I think 4 races, we had a safety car. So I was quite shocked, to be fair, that there was no major incidents. I was sort of expecting one on the first lap, because the first corner obviously can be one of those where everyone is bunched up with a long run down to turn 1. So yeah, I was sort of expecting one, but yeah, and I was sort of waiting as long as I possibly could for my pit stop, just in case there was one, and I could try and jump a couple of places on the pit stop. Because I'd done that last season. But yeah, I mean, it was very clean racing in general. I had a little bit of contact with PvP, but it was sort of a bit of netcode and whatnot. But yeah, other than that, the racing was very, very clean from what I saw.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal job, Joe. Question for you: when Panic unfortunately did spin on his outlap, and without the lack of a safety car, did you just see that the top two were just so far ahead, and you were just trying to manage the person behind you, or did you gain a bit of relief when you saw Panic spun, thinking, "Oh, I have third locked in the bag now. No need to push now. Just keep on a good steady pace."
Yeah, it was a bit like that. I knew that I could do sort of my same lap time every lap time, but I knew it was on the edge. So I thought if I just back off and drive it around 7/10 off, I was like, I've got a gap. I think it was like 12 seconds behind. I was like, he's not. If he does catch me, I can push on for a few laps and pull out a gap, which he started to do. I think he got within sort of 3 seconds in the last sort of 3 or 4 laps. So I just pushed for 2 or 3 laps and pulled the gap back out to sort of 5 or 6 seconds. But yeah, I knew I wasn't going to catch the front guys, and I knew I could manage the gap to behind without sort of having to try too much. And yeah, it's like I said about earlier, you just got to sort of be sensible. It's not worth trying to go for the fastest lap of the race and end up going off and losing your third position. You're better off sort of losing a load of time to the guys in front and just managing your position.
Yep. Yeah, very smart. That's a very big, high composure move there. But we are going to wrap up the broadcast here. Joe, do you have any shout-outs?
I don't know.
All right. Well, then we will let you go. It was a pleasure to watch. Great job. Very clean racing.
Thanks very much, and thank you guys for organising and running the stream, etc. So thank you for that.
Oh, no problem. We enjoy watching you guys race. It is a pleasure and very exciting to announce. So you guys put on a show for us, and it makes it easy to put on a good show when the driving is so amazing. So thank you, Joe. And,
thank you.
Congrats,
good
Joe.
luck next week.
See you later. Thank you. Bye.
All right, so we are all wrapped up here with the first round of the IFL 3 in Season 3. So we are going to move on to the IFL 1 practice session that starts in just a few minutes. Go tune in to SRM YouTube, that is Sim Racing Media. They will be broadcasting our IFL 1 race. But for now, we are off. Congrats again to our big winners, Victor Barris, James Mollaire, and Joe Watts. Phenomenal racing from them. And then also a shout out to our sponsors, Butt Kicker, who supplies prizes at the end of the season, Designs Ltd, that does apparel, Majors Garage, which helps us out with setups and sharing our info. And then, just the IFL admin team in general and the media team. Phenomenal job in the off season to everybody who's put time in and has really made this thing just grow and explode into an 80 driver 3 series league. It has just been amazing to be a part of. So thank you, everybody. Weston, any shout outs for yourself?
Thank you so much for having me in the booth with you. It was a blast to watch all these racers compete today. I remember being a racer down there in Barcelona during the first race of the first season. To watch this league grow to such an extent is very, very satisfying to watch, and I can't wait to watch the next one.
Yep, we will see you guys in Brazil for the second round, and we'll catch you next week. Hope everybody has a good rest of the week, and